Well, great to be back with you. The Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz is one of many theaters of competition and conflict between the U.S. and American allies that actually stands to grow in lethality and concern and risk over the next 5 to 6 months because Iran has changed its national security strategy now. It's more risk tolerant. It's willing to push back on America. And in so doing, it is going to be taking riskier actions to strike at American interests, American allies, and the security of American allies, and things that American allies and American interests hold dear. As we know, one of them is the free flow of oil and the freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. So I would expect this theater, among many, to grow in intensity as the days go on.
So how disruptive is this likely to be for oil? I mean, when you consider that a fifth of the world's oil moves through the Strait of Hormuz, this could really have a very significant impact on markets. I mean, what is the worst that could happen here?
I think something that could happen, given the success of the U.S. oil sanctions before, the limited oil that continues to go to China, the limited oil Iran continues to export, plus the lifeline that Iran has through countries that don't purchase the oil for themselves, but serve as re-export hubs for Iranian oil illicitly, that actually may dampen some concerns when it comes to oil price and tensions, again, over the next 5 to 6 months. But my fear is that a spike in Brent prices could be sustained over several weeks, plus surges in insurance premiums.
Yeah, and from an Iranian perspective, I mean, of course, we have seen some incident previously already, especially with the US. So from an Iranian perspective, what is their intention? What are they trying to achieve with all these cases currently? Is this a confrontation now showing the Western world that they are not backing off, or what is their mind?
You know, that's a great point because we talked about those theaters before, the theaters of conflict and competition between the U.S. and Iran. And by Iran engaging in more risky behavior in those theaters, they're signaling that there's a political rationale for their escalation. One is to make sure that the countries that do enforce sanctions, such as the UK on some areas, don't enforce those sanctions. And the second is to signal something to Washington, which is that Washington needs to abandon its Iran policy. This is the ultimate goal of Iranian escalation in the Gulf, in the Strait of Hormuz, and elsewhere since late April, early May. It's to say that Tehran is changing its policy and is now going to be willing to play chicken with you in all these areas. So by embracing risk, Tehran is trying to get America to cease the max pressure campaign and to return to that JCPOA nuclear deal, which the Trump administration left last May. Ultimately, it is about sanctions relief, it is about money, but it is about forcing America to change its political strategy through a change in Iran's security strategy.